People used to have to sign themselves in. Suzanne, check in yet?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Dave Turner as well.
Dave Turner, good.
Good morning. Full house in here.
Good morning.
All right. February 9th. We're already into February. So we're being recorded. So everything you're saying again will be on the internet and is on the internet. So if you're ever looking for us, you can search on YouTube and you will see these meetings. Meeting agenda, same as always. We'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all follow after me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and four-way test. First, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? All right, you can all be seated. Wonderful. Let's see here. Do we have any guests in the room today? It does, well, Norris is always a guest, so a perpetual guest here. No, it looks like all members, which is exciting online. Oh, Pete Mezzo joined us.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Pete. So we've got Suzanne, George, Dave, Bob Groenig, Bob Carruthers, Angie, and Pete.
Yay!
All sorts of good, fun people. Wonderful. Oh, and Pete waved. Thanks, Pete. So we're going to jump on to club announcements real quick. First off, wanted to say a big thank you to everyone for Charter Night, both everyone who came, but also for Anne, for Jeannie, for Mary Beth, Kim, and everyone else that helped come set up. Really a fantastic event. If you didn't make it, you'll have to come next year because it was a lot of fun. And thank you so much for all the hard work that was done. And Anne has an update, but I'm going to tell you the net raised last time we were talking was 5307. Is there another?
No, it's higher than that.
Now it's even higher.
It's higher because Amy gave us a 30% discount.
Oh.
And I wasn't aware
Didn't
of
factor that
and
in.
the prices of her things that
For
she gave
bunts and
us
buntlets.
were less than what I had estimated. So
Well, even better. So
she was very generous.
A little bit more.
And thank you to everybody that donated stuff because it really made it happen.
I think the big highlight though was Justin's.
Oh yes.
And we got 2 of those. So thank you all for Mary Beth for doing one, Kim and Ann for doing the other. Like, super fantastic. And
Now, you know, we're going to have him come to our home when we finally leave.
yeah.
So that was, you know, expecting that we're going to be able to leave that condo.
Yeah. Well, it'll happen. Yeah. But I think that was, I mean, that offer was fantastic, and hopefully he'll be able to give it in the future because
That was
it's.
smart of him. Does he do that all the time?
Yeah, well, he's a Rotarian. He's,
I know. That was just the way
well,
he did it. It
I was
was
giving
great.
him some crap. If you don't know Justin, he's a friend of mine from the Bay Area, and he was in Oakland, which is club number 3, big club, like big spenders there, and he's a financial advisor. So like, he's good with people and good with money. So I don't know. I mean, he alone, like last minute, raised over $2,000. Plus, he saved us a couple hundred. So, and then he bought whiskey. So
He did. Yes,
yeah,
he did.
so
Expensive whiskey.
yeah. So that's Justin for you.
Which we were having a little trouble with the supply chain, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll all work out. Wonderful. Again, thank you again for Charter Night. Super fantastic. Couple more updates. We've got the board voted to donate about, I think it was $500 a quarter to occupy this space here. So what's fantastic about that is instead of just paying rent, we're actually contributing to the community as an in-kind exchange. So it's another thing to go into the feather in our hat of the club as a club operating expense that's turned into a community effort. So, and Leslie, thank you for coordinating all of this because it wouldn't have happened without you. And I think that it's a great testament for our club because I don't know any other club right now that is giving donations for their space this way. It's pretty unique. So, and Terry shows up. Oh my gosh, the celebrity herself. There's an envelope for you there.
Oh, the one who
That
left
almost
her.
got thrown away.
So just to let y'all know that this money is considered a scholarship for families with some sort of financial need, and it'll be used towards courses for training, positive reinforcement, helping families keep pets. That's going to be where it's going, but mostly to like what we heard on that last presentation about the positive reinforcement training in particular. So all good. It's going to spread positivity in the community too. Next one, we've got big update from Joe. So this is going to be our Joe's minute here.
Wow.
So regarding Flower Power, the Denver Home and Garden Show is on again. As some people know, the convention floor is decorated with flowers and all the different displays. On Sunday night, the 20th, that's the last day of the Home and Garden Show, they are looking for volunteers to come help pack up the flowers. There's some Boy Scout troops that will put the boxes together, and at 6 o'clock they ring the bell and everybody scurries around. We collect all the plants and put them in the boxes. You get free admission to the Denver Home and Garden Show if you show up to help. Just tell them you're there for Flower Power. Critical need for help is Monday, the 21st, which is President's Day, so some people won't have to go to work. If you could meet us in the truck in the parking lot at the Safeway on Baseline and Foothills, we'll have little tags to help distribute the flowers to the different nursing home and assisted living facilities in Boulder. Members of Boulder Valley Club are helping with this, and Flatirons Rotary is helping with this. I'll provide the truck. We'll go pick up the flowers bright and early Monday morning. Lot C at Mile High Stadium or Tower Field or whatever it's called.
Now, I haven't done this before, but if I'm getting this right, anything we box, we bring to Boulder and put in nursing homes.
Well, what happens is there are lots of Rotary, up to 25 Rotary clubs help participate with this. There is the boxing crowd Sunday night that packages up all the flowers. Those boxes get loaded into 2 semis. Monday morning, people show up and from the semis load their trucks or vans and whatever and go to their appropriate places. Because in Boulder, the size we are, we get 800 plants, something like that, to try to distribute.
If I send Bob, what time should he be at the Safeway?
8:30 in the morning at Safeway.
All right, Bob.
I volunteer.
It sounds more like you've been voluntold, but that's
They need you for your brawn.
So Flower Power, the critical need for help is going to be Monday morning, 8:30 in the Safeway parking lot. Item number 2, the Marshall Fire clothes sorting. Our friends at the Rocky Mountain Niwot Church are putting together a clothes sort. There's 2 shifts for 2 hours, 8 to 10 and 10 to noon. have lots of clothing that needs to be sorted. If you need more details on that, please let me know.
Dennis and his wife also are going to.
I think there's a few that have already signed up. I hope to see you there on Saturday morning. That's this coming Saturday morning, February 12th. Chase House meals. We're still doing the last Friday of the month, providing meals to the kids at Chase House. Current census is 4 students and 2 staff. I need somebody to do meals on February 25th. That's the last Friday of this month. Jason, are you sure you can handle that? I think so. Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You don't get to eat all the meals, though.
No, I mean, well, he's done it before. The deal is you bring it in a disposable dishes. They do have an oven, but pre-cooked. So that all you have to do is warm it or eat it hot from the all works. And then number 4, the sleep out and youth homelessness with Together. Together, they don't officially say it, but the acronym is the group that heals reality. They're helping kids with stable housing. Sleep Out will be March 24th. They're looking for people to help with their setup, overnight security, their cleanup, etc. And there will be some of us fools that are fundraising and will be sleeping out on the church lawn that morning of March 24th. They're also doing a virtual sleep out on the 26th. If you don't want to join the crowd for COVID reasons or otherwise, if you want to sleep out in your front yard. This will be their 10th annual, and this will be my 9th. I'll send you a link to my fundraising page. The one thing with nonprofits is they tend to change their service providers for different things regularly. And so this year it's Lively Cause. There's a bunch of different ones, but I'll send you the link for this one. If you don't want to do it online, then you can send me a check or send it to Together. Together.
I got a picture of it.
Shouldn't have done that.
It's actually,
Your phone's not gonna work.
I was
no,
waiting.
Joe, it's the puppy right above your head that's really going to be hard. But so, Joe, we're going to send an email out with all 4 of these with the dates, times, and locations, right? So we'll get that out.
And I say, if you need more information, just contact me directly. It's the KJW House email. Kathy doesn't read those.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for putting all this together. It's great that we're getting our service on right now in February. All right, so Terry, if you'd be able to pop me back, it looks like I've lost connection. If you click on my presentation again. There we go, perfect. All right, we're on the Happy Bucks. So for everyone here, we all know what Happy Bucks are, so I don't have to tell you. We're gonna start over on this end of the table. You want to pass the cup? Oh boy.
Happy pre-Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
It's just happy day.
This is, I owe you $2. And I'm happy that that's not right.
Yay.
Well, it's not over. You can still order. You can still order.
Oh, this is the birthday chocolate. My grandson was 16. Tomorrow's my birthday. On my birthday, and my granddaughter's going to be 9 on Sunday. So lots of beverages tonight.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so
Happy
much.
birthday.
Thank
You
you.
can order.
And thank you, that Advocacy Committee. That's so much for being here. Thank you.
So I just want to say that I really appreciate the morning meeting because I get to see the beautiful sunrise.
Yes,
I
yes.
live in a gorgeous place.
Yes.
A happy 5. Just nice to know that even wearing a mask and having the refrigerator so close, my can't still fit. We had a wonderful time at the charter night dinner.
I have some cranky cash. Lock your doors because people will take stuff out of your car if you leave it locked. That's all I'm gonna say.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. It was just my wallet that got taken.
Oh.
Just your wallet. That's okay.
Yeah, so lock your doors. I was too trusting.
I was thinking on the drive over here that
Carrie's up.
I've had that done in a parking lot at the apartment I had just moved into in Casper. Anyway. So I was just thinking on the way over here that I really didn't have anything for happy hours. I tried to plan ahead, even though I don't show up ahead, but.
That's why you're late. You're doing.
And then I had a serendipitous event where I noticed as I turned into, is it baby goat or laughing goat over here? But the coffee shop.
Okay.
And I noticed I had a text from my cousin in California. And I go to turn off the car and suddenly it's dialing. My phone is dialing her and it's sitting on the passenger seat. And I'm like, I don't know how that happened. So I'm talking to my cousin who's an hour earlier in California. She goes, well, I was just waking up. What's up? And I love this cousin because we're planning, and that's the other happy dollar is I've been planning. We're having an all-girl cousin sister gathering for our cousin's 60th birthday, and we're renting a beach house near Morro Bay, and in May.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much. Anyone online with Happy Bucks?
So of course I had to talk to her, so that's why I'm late.
I don't see anyone unmuted. I do see that Bill Hendricks is online, so you can pass this down there. That's please. All right. Well, with no other Happy Bucks, thank you very much. We are at our program a few minutes early, and I don't see.
She's not here yet.
Yeah, so
I can start a little bit. I told her 8 o'clock. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, with that, we're early, so.
But John can maybe talk about it a bit.
Yeah.
I can start it. I was going to introduce her, so.
Wonderful. Well, as you all know, John Stringfellow, a new member of our club, but a board member in NAMI. So happy to have you come and speak to us while we're pre-introducing it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I will try not to make this 15 minutes. So before Anna gets here, what I was going to do when she was here, but one of the things with mental illness and with people who join NAMI is we all have an experience. And the short story of my experience is my younger daughter, who when she was 14, was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and it was crippling. When she was 16, there were times when we would have to pick her up because she couldn't drive. And she would literally call and say, hey, I can't go anywhere. And we would find her in the backseat of her car in a Kingsford parking lot or something like that. Did a lot of therapy. It just was something we had a hard time figuring it out. And when a little bit later, she took some medication, a lot of medication. Well, as much as we thought it was initially, but ended up getting it stuck in a 72-hour involuntary hold. They extended that. And if you're a parent and you're dealing with that with a teenager, the first thing you learn is that you don't have absolutely any rights. The system is set up to where you can't do anything to help your kid. And it's even lower. When we were dealing with it, the age of consent for mental health is 15. She was 16. So we couldn't do anything. She had complete age of consent. She didn't even know. They put her in a Highlands Ranch. It's one of the places, and there's only 2 in the area that takes teenagers. They put her in Highlands Ranch on Easter weekend, on Good Friday, and just left her there. I was fortunate, my dad's deacon down in Pueblo, through some connections, got in touch with the judge, and I just mentioned the judge's name to the place when I called him on Monday morning. And surprisingly, a few hours later, they were ready to release her. But they didn't do anything. So first thing I did was started getting involved in some advocacy, and then that led me to meeting up with
a person who met me with a person, and all of a sudden I found NAMI. And so what NAMI does, what we do as a mission is we do education, we provide support, and we advocate. So we've got a group that is involved pretty regularly with state legislators to help craft and have input to some of the bills that are going on. We hold support groups throughout Boulder County. Pre-pandemic, all of them were in person, and we do education classes that, and everything's free. We don't charge anything for anybody. So all of the work we do is either 100% volunteers or through the generosity of a lot of donors that we have. So, and like I said, it was a godsend for me, because the biggest thing that we do is we provide a place for people to talk about it, people to talk about their loved one, and in some cases for themselves, where themselves are going through recovery. So it just opens up the opportunity for people to feel like they're not alone, and if they're welcome, you know, in society, and so that's what we do. So,
so John, real quick question. So NAMI this is the Boulder County. Is it like a chapter?
So NAMI is a national organization. We are a local affiliate. We cover Boulder and Brookville counties. There's 14 affiliates in Colorado. There's a Colorado State affiliation. And, as organizations like this go, so roots for NAMI itself. So NAMI as an organization is a little over 40 years old. It actually has roots in Boulder. There was a group of mothers in the late 70s who had kids either dealt with, you know, bipolar disorder or schizophrenia and other types of mental illnesses, and they just kind of got together and started saying, what are they doing for your kid? What are they doing for your kid? And that's kind of how NAMI started. It really started with a group of parents just figuring out, because at that time you either got lithium or you got sent to there was just no and everybody labeled you some way. So that's where it really started. And then groups from around the country started to connect, and then they met in Wisconsin actually. So the national organization is about 40 some years old. So is the Boulder organization. And we've kind of gone in waves. When I got involved, and Anna, when she arrives, she was already involved. We had a board and we did all the work. We had a part-time administrative assistant that managed our memberships and did our mail, and that's about it. So now in 4 years, we've grown. We've got a budget of almost $100,000 a year, which at the time we had $20,000, $10,000 on the CD, and $10,000 in our bank account when I was involved. And so we've grown quite a bit. We weren't doing any support groups at the time, and we were doing 1 or 2 classes a year. And so with people like Anna, who's and everything that she's done, we've been able to grow. And like I said, pre-pandemic, we were holding weekly support classes and support groups in Lafayette, Boulder, and Longmont. And then we switched online, and our online support groups get people from out of state, from all over the place. So it's a national organization with a lot of local affiliates. The local affiliates, like I said, they grow, and they, as people deal with their crises and get involved, and then a lot of times people just stop coming.
Do you have a connection with mental health partners?
We do, yeah. So we work pretty closely with them. We don't do the same thing they do, but we have done some of the work we've done has been in some of their spaces. In fact, our office, which is in one of their locations, and really our role is to, like I said, we don't advocate we don't recommend anybody. Here's a therapist here. We recommend how to get direction, how to get help, not so much anybody specifically. So, but we do connect with mental health partners.
Are you in the schools in any way? Is there a connection between you and Boulder County schools? So if they see a kid that needs a referral, do they have to go to the parents to add that, or can they just?
We don't really have. Our programs are really designed more for parents than they are for youth. We're on a national level starting to work on developing youth programs, and so the bulk of the pros, we have a class called the basics class. And the basics class used to be 8 weeks. It's shorter now, but the idea is to help parents understand things like what is I mean, I didn't know when I was dealing with this. I had 3 kids. My first 2 kids were perfect. I mean, that's what kids are. You know, but never a problem, never had anything. And then Megan comes along and we're dealing with depression, and you know, your first instinct is, well, you know, smile. You know, and that doesn't work. That's not the way to treat somebody who's dealing with depression. So you have to go through that process as a parent to learn how to even help your kid. And that's kind of one of the things we teach is, you know, just like here in the airplanes, put your mask on first before you put your kids on masks, because you can't help your kid if you're not able to take care of yourself. So that's part of it. So we don't currently, because that's been our focus. And the other thing about the programs that NAMI has is they're really careful about making sure, one, everything's scientific based, that there's something that supports what we teach, because we're not licensed therapists. We're not trying to be that. We're just trying to provide an avenue for people to understand how to get that kind of help and that kind of stuff. So, she's doing really well, actually. She just graduated from college, works Children's Hospital, doing as a research assistant, but she still deals with it. It's a lifelong thing for her.
No, having the tools.
That's the biggest thing, yeah. But she's doing really well. Yeah.
I was going to make a comment. I'm so glad this organization exists to help support parents. What's really sad about our state, and I know, John, you're probably aware of this, but for treatment of teenagers and young people, and having places for them to get help, Colorado is like 3rd from the bottom.
I think it's like 53. I mean, it's even almost worse.
Yeah.
53.
For our state, which is really sad, it's upsetting, because Colorado is so forward in so many areas, and this really needs to be beefed up.
I think there's some pretty good work going on in the legislature. It's starting to get, you know, so some of the newer legislators, you know, from the Boulder area, in fact, are championing some of the bills. So,
Great.
hey,
Maybe we'll get some movement.
so yeah. So it's going to take some time. So there is a bill that got passed and stuff that I get too busy and I can't keep up with everything, but where kids at a certain age can have access to so many mental health are supposed to. And the challenge gets into where's the providers, where are they going to get that help? So there's another issue. Yeah, so there's the support for that. But so yeah, so anyway, we got started a little early in it, so I don't know how much I screwed this up. What you were
You told us your story.
I told it, yeah, so
Perfect.
So with all of that, I'm happy to introduce our executive director, Kim, and
Bill sent me the intro.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to read it or.
I'll let you read.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're fine.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Well, I'm excited to bring our program today. So Anna Kemp, involved in NAMI since 2017. So quite some time now. We're on 5 years this year. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
She joined as a volunteer. She's got a professional background in marketing and community building, and has enjoyed bringing her skills to work with NAMI as a volunteer, board member, program director, and now as executive director. She's a graduate of University of Phoenix with a degree in human services, and we're really excited to have you today to tell us more about NAMI. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
This is a remote right here, so you can hit the forward advance button to go through your slides, and we're off to go.
But yeah, thank you all for having me here and for having me, John. I'm sorry that I wasn't here, but John, thank you for sharing your story. So I'm with NAMI Boulder County, and we are the nation's largest grassroots organization dedicated to mental health for families and those experiencing mental health conditions. We do a lot of stuff around education, advocacy,
support and awareness for those with, like I said, with mental health conditions, family members, loved ones. We work a lot at the legislative level, and I'm really happy to be here to tell you a little bit about our programs. So I'll go into education a little bit. We have a lot of programs for people of all ages. One of the ones that I really like to talk about is NAMI Basics. Basics is a program that is for parents of children and teenagers who are experiencing symptoms of a mental health condition. It really brings them together to talk to each other, to learn from each other, and then it teaches a lot of hands-on practical things around how to interact with your child, where to seek treatment, how to talk to schools, how to set up a plan, all those things that people really are not experienced with. Our family and family class is our signature program that I absolutely love. That is a program for people with an adult loved one with mental illness, and it teaches communication skills, all about diagnoses, problem-solving skills, and really importantly, self-care. So that course is an 8-week course, and we have a 90-minute version that we do just to give people the highlights, and then they can sign up for the whole 8-week course. Right now, everything we're doing is virtual, but we do it in person. That's allowed. So, but that one is just amazing. Like, I teach that class myself, and I honestly teach it back to back. I mean, just the amount of change that you see in family members from the beginning to the end of the course is just phenomenal. They have told me time and time again that it's changed their lives, it's changed their loved ones' lives. It's something that just teaches, it gives them the skills they need to better navigate all of this, which most of us come into it without having any experience. This is a really amazing course. NAMI Homefront is a similar course, but it's specific to families of military veterans, and it is really amazing because, especially in the military, I mean, a lot of people don't talk about mental illness, but in the military, it's especially taboo or has been in the past. So to bring these families together and talk about their very similar experiences to build that community, it's just phenomenal. It's a really amazing program. And then peer-to-peer is similar to family to family. That one is for people with mental health conditions, and those people, again, learn a lot of the same skills that are taught only in reverse, and they also get to come together and connect with each other and learn a lot about their condition. We do have a lot of other programs, but these are the ones that and then we do advocacy. So we offer a program called NAMI Smarts for Advocacy. I really am enjoying this one. I recently got trained to teach this one. And we teach people how to advocate at the legislative level. So we have them write letters to legislators, make phone calls. We do actually meet with all of our local legislators in person. And what I love about this one in Boulder is that we've actually established it with Boulder. So we are teaching a lot of students this and getting them involved in advocacy at a very early age. And a lot of them are actually going into majors that relate to this field. So right off the bat, they are getting involved with grassroots advocacy and how to support people with mental health conditions. We have a stigma-free program that is, we have a stigma-free workplace that we do for people in the workplace to talk about stigma around mental health conditions. And we also have a program for youth around stigma and preventing that. And then these other two graphics are just kind of highlighting NAMI National. We go to the Capitol. Colorado may or may not go, but in Colorado we definitely go to the Capitol. NAMI Colorado actually has a group that really advocates heavily at the legislative level. We have lobbyists, so they do a lot of really great work. And then support, we have one of our signature things that we do are support programs. So we have free, everything, I should have mentioned, everything we offer is free and open to everybody. So our support groups are similar in that we have a family support group, which is for family members, and then we have a connection support group, which is for people with mental health conditions. Right now, NAMI Boulder County is meeting every week with both of these groups. It is virtual still, but we have really good attendance, and again, we get really amazing feedback. The number one thing I hear from facilitating the family support group is just to find a place where I can say what's happening in my family and have everybody nod and acknowledge it and say, yeah, that's happened to our family, or I've experienced that. It's so powerful, like it really can't be overstated, because many people, this is the first time they've ever talked to anybody about their situation. And then we also do act as a little bit of a resource guide. So we put together a lot of stuff on our website around resources for teens, youth, see older, we work really closely with, as I mentioned. We have resources for all the different mental health facilities around here. And we, of course, offer national resources as well. And then along the lines of everything else that we do, we also do awareness. So we do presentations like this. We have a number of presentations that we do. We do a walk every May, which is called NAMI walks. We recently named it NAMI Walks Norway because it was a virtual walk, and I think this year maybe in person. I'm not really sure yet. But this is a great opportunity to just bring people together to walk and share, spread awareness around mental illness. And then I do, just because we're in Boulder, I do like to talk about Boulder a little bit. This has been really fun. We have a NAMI on campus, and that is national. We have NAMI on campus chapters around the country. But NAMI Boulder has a great chapter of this, and we do a lot with them. We also are partnered with the See Boulder Volunteer Resource Center, so we get a lot of students who come to us who want to volunteer. So whether they want to join a club or whether they want to actually volunteer with NAMI Boulder, we're really partnering with them. We do a lot of really fun things. We have, like I mentioned, Advocacy Committee does NAMI Smarts, and then they advocate for mental illness. And then the Community Outreach Committee does whatever projects we decide. So every semester we pick a project. And last semester, the students designed these really cool flyers that had like one sentence for each diagnosis that they were familiar with. So most students who come to us have a diagnosis, but not all. So it was just like a eye-catching sentence about something someone might be experiencing, and then the message about you were not alone with a QR code that led them to resources. They designed them, they wrote them, they put them up around campus. It's really good projects. And then just lastly, ways that we invite people to get involved. We do have a lot of volunteer opportunities. I think right now we have around 75 to 80 volunteers. Different things. We are a volunteer-based organization. And we have memberships. Obviously, people can become a member, and that allows you to, what I like to say is, it really makes the statement that you want to be a part of this movement, but we do have other benefits. We send out, NAMI National sends out a really nice magazine every quarter that talks about latest research and those sorts of things. You can join one of those committees. I do have a lot of students in there, but they're open to the public. One of our committees, Advocacy Committee, has a lot of students and an amazing 83-year-old woman who has just done a ton of advocacy, and I love bringing them together. And it just really, she loves talking about it. I love learning from her. So, and then obviously donations, we do rely on individual donations. We are fully funded by individual donors. And NAMI walks coming up, like I said, you can get involved as a sponsor, but also you can just show up and walk. If it's virtual this year, you can do that on your computer and just again show your support for our movement, and you can get a lot more information on our website. And then I think the last slide, I like to show a little bit more about our volunteer opportunities, because a lot of people do like getting involved that way. So again, the two committees, education and support if you are a person living with a mental health condition, or you have a family member and you want to get involved in our support groups or teaching our programs. Those are all run by volunteers. Training volunteers, we do other really great training, development, and then our board. So if anyone's interested in becoming a board member, you can talk to us about that. Basically, any questions? I'm happy to go back to
It obviously, with NAMI, it's more geared towards young people and mental. We're all the sandwich generation, so we have. I think I'm dealing with a mental health issue. My elderly mother. Right. So, are those resources available also for elderly?
Yeah, well, what I like to say is we do also really partner with other organizations. So typically, if someone is elderly, then it usually is, there's a lot better resources. I don't want to say better, but the resources from like AARP and organizations like that are really helpful because they're very specific to that demographic. And then also, there are a lot of things that change after the age of 65 in terms of Social Security and benefits and insurance and all that sort of thing that get pretty specific. But that's not to say that we're not, like, we are open to everybody, so it's not to say that they wouldn't, people in that your situation wouldn't be welcome, but I feel like the resources of the AARP and the sites.
And your family support is for older parents who say have a child living at home and has a condition. And how does that family support with that situation?
Well, yes, but also we have all ages. So in our support groups, we often have children of, and they are for, you have to be 18 or over for our family support groups. But we'll have young adult children with an older parent with a mental health condition, siblings, a lot of times are in there. And then families whose loved one they have no contact with also sometimes have a parent. And that's a lot of what we talk about too, is what do you do when you have no control over the person that you're trying to take care of and they are missing or not in contact with you. There's a lot that we talk to families about that too. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
As part of your advocacy, getting the word out that you exist, is what you do. All across the country, have there been efforts to contact universities that teach future counselors, future therapists, therapist organizations like American Council Association and so forth? I think those types of places really need to know about you because many do not, and they're in the field.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is a common thing that we are always talking about because NAMI, like one thing I'm really passionate about is the history of mental illness in America, and for decades, like it wasn't talked about. It was a secret that no one talked about at all, and we're finally getting to the point where we're really talking openly. And one of the silver linings of the pandemic and all the mental health conversations coming out of this is that people are talking about it way more than they were even 5 years ago, I feel like. And so that's one of the things that, okay, now that we're kind of getting past this point of like, let's actually be willing to talk about it or acknowledge that mental illness is real, which a lot of people, honestly still, you know, the stigma is still there that it's a choice, that if people just try harder and better willpower, there's very much an issue around that. And so we're kind of trying to figure out, okay, now that we kind of are past the point of trying to prove that it's real or even talk about it, how do we really get it out into the mainstream? And especially like you're talking about, that's something that I would think that National would be working on that, but I haven't heard anything recently, so that's a bit of a reminder.
Yeah, it's a strong partnership.
John's story just really struck me as one of my best friends. Her teenage daughter was visiting friends in Barcelona and had a mental crisis. The family kicked her out, sent her to a mental hospital in Barcelona. Mom this was just this past summer, had to get a ticket, go there. Luckily, Spanish is her first language, and she's amazing. But I know this girl has been in counseling and therapy, but I've never, and I'm very close to this family, I've never heard them mention NAMI as a support group. And to me, that's a failure on part of counselors and therapists.
Yeah, and that's something
a lot of them don't even know about this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just devastated because I think this family could have had so much help. And that's the other thing I love about Boulder Flatirons and just Rotary is that bringing, speakers like you in to help us
Be aware.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And like I said, I've heard people at NAMI National say NAMI has been the nation's best kept secret around mental illness, and we need to change that. And that's something that is very much at top of mind because of exactly what you're talking about.
I had 2 quick ones. The first one, just a clarification, is NAMI religiously affiliated in any way? It's helpful for us to know.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, thank you. So no, we are not. We are totally not, but we do have one program I didn't mention up there called NAMI Faith, because a lot of people do find faith is helpful. So it's a separate program that's part of the NAMI group of programs, but all of the rest of our programs, we don't mention that, although we do, like in, you know, for a lot of people, if they want to share, like, this is important to me, we're like, not allowed to talk about or anything, but what I love about Fake Nut that I'll just quickly say is actually what that program, one of the main pieces of that is that it is teaching clergy how to talk to people about mental health conditions, because many people talk to that person first before they talk to anybody else. And if that person is trained and knows how to respond versus if they're not and they don't know how to respond, it makes an incredible difference. So yeah, I'm excited that we do have that program.
So my follow-up to that all was kind of touching on the earlier mentioned by Marty and what you said. The last couple of years in Boulder have been traumatic. So how has that impacted the work that you're doing now with the King Super shooting, with everything that's been happening, the fires, COVID, everything like that all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, these are triggers.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so basically, we are a really small organization. I mean, Boulder was very small, and then we're working really hard to grow them, because one thing that I know is that research has shown that if there's a trigger like that, a lot of people are going to recover and move past and they'll be resilient. But I read a statistic that a third of those people will not be able to, and they'll have ongoing mental health issues. And so my concern is 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, how we're going to start seeing this really come out and the need increase. At the same time that there are so many workforce issues that a lot of our partner organizations are losing staff. They're unable to fill staff roles. Psychiatrists are 6-week wait at least for new patients. So again, the advocacy stuff, we're doing a lot around that to try and really make sure that the funding is there, that the laws are there, that we're taking care of our community, and then we partner with everybody. So just a couple that come to mind, mental health partners we're partnering with. So
I was thinking of mental health first aid.
Yeah.
Taking courses with them.
Exactly. And what I love to add is that one of the beautiful things about NAMI is we're not competitive at all, so we're very collaborative, and we strongly believe that if somebody needs resources, we want them to get those resources wherever they get them from. It doesn't have to be through us. So we're always advertising other community support groups and classes, and youth mental health first aid and mental health first aid. We're always advertising that on our website. Even though we're not doing it directly, because we want people to get that. Rise Against Suicide is an amazing organization. You might want to have them speak to you if you haven't already spoken to them. They provide free counseling for youth under the age of 18. So that's a really good partnership, because we do support youth in that age group. We have a few things, but that's not our primary audience. And so partnering with an organization like that really helps supplement what we're doing.
Do you have a philosophy or something that add out to something beyond memory, which is not good?
They're in my car, so I can run out after this. I forgot to bring that in, but yes, I do.
Terry, do you have a question too? Or?
I was just bringing in mental health first aid as I am clergy, and so I've taken that, but I've not known about. I've heard of NAMI, but I've not gotten involved in it. So that faith net sounds really great.
No.
There you go.
Yeah.
On the car.
In my car. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And yes, to clarify, NAMI is national. I think there are a few international groups, but it's primarily in the United States, and it's in every state. And our programs are the same. So if you go to California or New York, it's going to be the same class, the same support.
I have a question about advocacy. Are you working, you and NAMI or with others in partnership to advocate for more beds for teenagers?
Yes.
And then secondly, about the age of consent, when John spoke, he mentioned 15. My understanding is now 13. Therefore, people are going out of state for those lack of beds and the low age.
I didn't get into my story, but I have 3 children, young adults now, and 2 of them have mental health conditions, and we sent both of them out of state. So Colorado, unfortunately, has been ranked at the very bottom of the states in Mental Health America's ranking of the states around mental health. care, and so that is, yeah, but beds are huge, that's a big topic that we're pushing for now.
You do presentations at CU Boulder?
Yeah.
So because I think you should do one for CU or Rotary.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
We'll connect you.
That was
College student age.
Great connection.
Well, and some of, I mean, you can speak to this, Marty, but some of them are interested in this field as well. So
Yes,
there's-
some are interested in the field. Yeah.
So this could be a really
Yeah.
good way
Yeah.
to tie them into their own community.
That would be
Because
really
you already have projects. there.
Yeah, exactly, and we already are doing a lot at CU. I love telling the story that we have a young woman who was part of NAMI on campus, and she became their president, then she graduated, and now she's part of our board and does a ton of work to help me with the NAMI on campus stuff, and she's phenomenal, and she's getting her master's in social work, so that's the kind of thing where when she goes out into the field, she's gonna be phenomenal.
Hannah, a quick question. So just having lived through this as in my youth, what kind of resources can you provide to parents so that they kind of see the field on how to help their kids? Like, can you just tell us about some of the things that you teach them?
Yeah, so at training youth mental health first aid, we highly recommend that because that really gets into how to, that's an 8-hour training, specifically how to recognize the symptoms and how to help someone. And we do touch on suicide, but they do much more around that. So I think that's a really good program. And then, like I said, in the basics class, it's really identifying. One of the things that's really hard for parents of children is that, especially teenagers, is this a mental health condition or are they just being a teenager? Is this something, right? It's like, do I need to be concerned or is this something that is just a phase and they'll get through it? And that is really hard to say. I mean, you really oftentimes do need a professional to say what's what and what's happening, especially if your teenager doesn't really want to talk about it. So I always say the number one thing is just listening. And we say that to families of people of all ages. A lot of families understandably go into this wanting to fix, and it's immediately like, okay, something's wrong. We need to do this, this, and this, and get you into treatment. And this is what I would do. And it's too much. Like people are trying to kind of navigate it themselves. And so honestly, just my daughter, one of my biggest changing points in time was when she said, Mom, your anxiety is triggering my anxiety. And I was like, okay, I need to work on me. And that honestly was a huge turning point because I was trying so hard to fix her and I was so scared. And I didn't have any support. This was prior to NAMI. I didn't find NAMI till it was kind of past the point of when it would have been helpful, which is why I'm so passionate about getting people involved now. But we honestly thought we were the only family. We didn't talk to other families about it. I isolated, and so I think taking care of myself, it sounds so like a lot of times it's not what families want to hear. Like the best thing you can do is take care of yourself and listen and be a supportive person who's not dealing with their own anxiety, because that person will pick up on that and they'll say, this isn't a safe person to talk to. I'm just going to freak her out. I better just be quiet and not talk about it. So just be in that presence, and then finding all these resources like mental health partners, like I said, all the trainings that are available. Partners for Children's Mental Health, they're headquartered in Denver, but they're across the state. They're amazing. They do a lot of really helpful work. And then talking to schools, like for me, it didn't even cross my mind to talk to the school about what she was going through. And when I finally did, they were so supportive, and we got a lot of help from that situation. So those are some of the, just off the top of my head, but yeah.
See a lot of people thinking.
Yeah.
I heard of NAMI. So our adult son had a mental health breakdown at the beginning of COVID. Stuck in Oakland. Anyway, I'm not going to give the whole story, but when he was finally home in our safety of his family home, there were times we just wanted to find, he didn't want to go to a hospital, but we needed to talk. We wanted him to talk to somebody because it was just bizarre. And so we didn't know where to call. That was my anxiety moment, is I can't do anything for him. He needs to talk to somebody who can relate better. I may be trained in that part, but when you're the parent.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a really good point.
So I didn't where do you go in an emergency of a, you know, he's delusional and thinks the FBI is after him. And,
Sorry.
so
That's very
he's
common.
fine now.
Good,
I
good.
think he figured some things out, but it could be triggered again. You
Yeah.
never know.
Well, and so a couple things. First, I'm so glad you brought that up. I don't know how I neglected to say Colorado Crisis Services is an amazing service. So they are a free 24/7 confidential service. You can call them, and a lot of people call on speakerphone with their loved one, and they'll have a trained professional talk you through whatever the situation is. You can also call when you're not in crisis, but you just don't know what to do. If you're saying, look, here's what's happening, I don't know what to do. And then they'll kind of guide you. They can provide you with some resources. They do also have a walk-in center over on Airport Road that, again, best kept secret. I feel like my job should not be telling people that's there because it's not even a NAMI thing, but most people don't know that that's there. And so that is a free walk-in center. They have a living room model, which is really nice. Unlike the ER, if you take someone there, they have like, you know, really nice furniture. You can sit with your loved one, they'll de-escalate, they'll talk to them. It's a very comfortable environment. So that is amazing. And that's just right over on Airport Road. And yeah, that's something I keep talking to mental health partners about is I'm like, you need to be advertising more because people need to know that that's there. But so I think that's really a good service. I also tell people, look that, I don't have the number here, but put it in your phone. So if you ever need it, you just hit that number and you know. And then also what I like to encourage when you mentioned he could get triggered again, have a crisis plan. So when your loved one is in a good place, putting together, okay, if that were to happen again, who are we going to call? What are we going to do? And if they can sign off on it with you, then you can always refer back to it and say, remember, we agreed to this, and that's why I'm calling whoever I'm calling or telling you, you know, because the worst time to work on a crisis is when it's already happening. And so now that you know, thinking about the future, so
crisis.
Well, that's a good point, because every time your son moves, then that's a whole other
Marcia, you got another question?
That maybe can go to your special group, take the big group. Do you or other local mental health organizations have a first responder kind of training to help when you're talking about de-escalating and some of those techniques? Because that seems to be quite a common situation.
Yeah. So again, a couple thoughts. First, I just want to mention Interfaith Network on Mental Illness. NAMI is another organization that we work closely with, and that is a group of clergy, interfaith clergy leaders, so all different people working in tandem. But I think I'm not aware of any organizations like ours or theirs with a first responder model, but Mental Health Partners definitely does. And actually, the Boulder Police Department, I believe, just switched things, so they're going to actually hire that in-house, and then they have a mental health provider who goes out with the police officers on a call, and then they can help to de-escalate and determine. Denver has a program where they only send out mental health providers. That's the STAR program, and I think a lot of counties are looking at them and might be replicating that.
I think Denver stole that from Portland, and they're
Yes.
unabashedly like, yeah, we stole that idea and it's working.
Because if it's working, why not?
Could you talk a little bit about stigma? I mean, I stopped stigma is something that I knew about 5 years ago because my daughter was. So, but it seems today that celebrities are coming out like the Olympic stars, and isn't the stigma? It's still stigmatic. It's still stigmatizing. I have a stepdaughter who brags about the fact that she's got ADHD. You know, like that. This is explaining why I am who I am.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah.
But I think she's. It doesn't change anything. But at least she's investigating what we all knew was a problem, but she didn't. So it's good. But I don't know. I just want to know what your take is on if stigma's getting. It's people are talking more.
Yeah, so my short answer is I think that there is a lot of hope with the younger generations, as is evidenced by some of the other things that have been taboo that are now really widely accepted, especially with the LGBTQ movement. You know, decades ago, that wasn't something you even talk about. Now everyone openly shares their pronouns. I should have said that beginning mine are she, hers. And so I think that, you know, that kind of conversation with young people is really changing the stigma, because honestly, all it takes to break down stigma is to talk openly and to be educated about what you're talking about. A lot of people, especially through NAMI, one program I didn't mention is In Our Own Voice, or we train people to share their story. And that is a beautiful program because they talk about what happened, how it got better, and then where they are now. So it's a very hopeful story. Like it'll start with some really upsetting stories of what happened, but then how they got better and what they're doing now is phenomenal. Like we have some amazing presenters. And when people hear that, I think that really breaks down the stigma, because one of the things also that breaks down stigma is knowing somebody who has a mental health condition. And 1 in 5 adults will have a mental health condition in their life. So everybody knows somebody. It's just a matter of whether or not they've disclosed or shared that. And so I think that's really important. Again, being an open person, language really matters. I think making sure that you are educated. One thing I like to point out is just not using those words as like a way to describe something that doesn't relate to it. So for example, my daughter has OCD. That is a very horrific disorder that is often misdiagnosed as schizophrenia in severe cases. And a lot of people, when they say, oh, I'm a little OCD, it's like, stop saying that. Like, if you just say, oh, I'm really, I like to be organized, or I really like to make sure things are perfect, that equally describes what you're talking about. And you're not stigmatizing OCD. So I think thinking about language.
Or belittling that experience.
Exactly. That's the word.
Yeah. So thinking about language, saying things like she has bipolar disorder instead of she's bipolar. Just like you wouldn't say she's cancer, say she has cancer. So thinking, another thing with language is thinking about a physical disorder. How would you say the same thing about a physical disorder? And if you wouldn't say that, maybe think about changing.
Yeah, that doesn't define the person.
Exactly.
Right.
It's part of their experience, but it's not the definition. Yeah.
Well, on that note, we just hit the half of the hour, and we really appreciate you coming to speak to us, because not only as community members, but educating us and helping us go out in the community and tell people more about NAMI and what you are working on, what you're doing, and John's helping with. So, as a token of our appreciation, we wanted to give you a globe. So this obviously affects people all over the world, but now you can remember coming to talk to us and something to hold down your papers. So I'm sure there's many of them. So but anyhow, thank you again, and hopefully we'll have you back sometime soon.
Yeah, anytime. And thank you so much.
Well, with that said, as we all know, if it is Wednesday, it is Rotary. Oh, do we have questions online?
Yeah, Suzanne says, what can Rotary do in 6 months to support mental health issues around the Marshall fire?
Oh,
so it's our internal.
We'll have to think about that for sure.
Keep us posted.
Yeah.
The whole district is working on that right now.
Okay. So Suzanne, did you hear that? The whole district is working on what to do with mental health issues around the Marshall fire.
Thank you again. Yeah, that'd be really fantastic. And this video will be online, and then we'll send you a link so that you can use it for your purposes. Absolutely. Thank you.
No, I'm just